Live and direct from Kunstmuseum, Liechtenstein, it's TEDx Vaduz 2013. Radically open.
I start rearranging the things. Dear ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, organizers, for having invited me. Why Winnie the Pooh is right and Google is wrong. When you are a bear of very little brain and you think of things, you find sometimes that a thing which seemed very thingish inside you is quite different once it's out in the open and has other people looking at it. Sorry, that was the slide to it. That was the quote from Winnie the Pooh. So I encourage you to have more thingish inside you. I'm Dr. Regula Stämpfli. I'm a political philosopher, and as such, I have a lot of thingish thoughts, and I see the world differently than probably most of you. And it's gotten me into a lot of trouble already, let me tell you, and I apologize for that. And I apologize anyway, because being a woman, it's always a good move to apologize. Okay, let's go on. Winnie the Pooh, Winnie the Pooh stands for me as the imagination, the longing, the passion, everything that we are made of. And Google stands as an archetype for the predictability, the categories, the preset mind. And what I'm trying to tell you is that more and more with the Google hits, the algorithms, the big data dictatorship, we are more and more defined by other people's opinion of us than that we live in our own skin. And this is very important, because if you just have the hits when you type in a name or you research a person, you very often don't get the subject as a person. You get, in fact, the opinions that others have of this person, which takes away our subjectivity. So I want to talk to you about the bureaucracy and the measurement of men and women. And now I come to my one cliché. One cliché is laughed at. You know, you can laugh at when they say women's brain are smaller than men's, ha ha ha. It doesn't have anything to do with intelligence. Although if you try to buy a new brain and you only have a female and a male version of the brains, you might find out that the female brain is half the price. And that would only be because the female brain is actually used already. Anyway, so one cliché is laughed at, and it's quite sexist, and it's recognized as such. 100 stereotypes. When you have 100 clichés, you already raise an eyebrow. When you have 1,000 stereotypes and clichés, or commonplaces as I call it, it becomes science. And when you have 10,000 stereotypes and clichés, it becomes Google autocomplete. Or autocorrect. And when it has even more hits, it really becomes the ghettos for women, and there we come to the sad history of Wikipedia. So, one cliché you see, if I cut my head in half, out would spill sugar and spice. You know the saying, girls are made of sugar and spice. It always used to make my boys really mad. And this is a new study on the brain, neuroscience, which I more often call neurosexism, to show that you really try with science now, the 1,000 stereotypes, to tell us, to make a self-fulfilling prophecy to tell us, yes, women do only want to shop. And but one cliché is still okay. You see a nice ad by Viagra, we erect the world with the Pisa Tower, so that's okay. 100 stereotypes. I have to show you this. They're actually already gender-based eggs, breakfast eggs. You have pink for the girls and blue for the boys. Are you mad? What I really like in Germany is the sausage country, so sorry for your veggies. You get sausages for women and sausages for men. Sorry, guys, sausages. But that's how you see how stereotypes then shape the world. We have another stereotype. 1,000 stereotypes become science. And you know these science, and you actually repeat it. The more often you hear it, the more often you do a self-fulfilling prophecy. Men dream only of sex, women of shopping. I like this one. Small balls, good fathers. That was just a month ago. So guys, squeeze your balls if you want to become fathers. That one, mapping the biggest wiener. And there I have to say, size really does matter, guys. It really does. And it does matter for women as well, because whenever we go into size, women, and we try to measure them, we're always a corpus delicti. We're always less brain, I mean, unless you're me, but less brain, less tall, less heavy, less muscles, less. It's a corpus delicti. It's like a crime. So be very aware. So what I call this, the 1,000 stereotypes that make science, it's neurosexism, eugenics, and these studies normalize usually nastiness. The predictability is only served to have a self-fulfilling prophecy, because people are much more than they weigh or they're measured, or the preconceptions of the scientists. And what really makes me mad, and you can tell now, is that the scientists very rarely reflect upon their own samples and what they actually ask the people and what they actually weigh and what they actually want to say. So, and why is gender always so interesting? You know, what's the problem, guys? I mean, why scientists stay away from the women once in a while? Why is it so important to tell guys and to tell men and women how they should behave and why they behave that way, and that Mrs. Neanderthal already cooked the mammoth stew? Which is total rubbish, because you see it in history. History is always politics, everyday politics in a costume. So be a bit more critical. Now I come to the autocomplete. You have to see this by Google. It's by the UN Women. They've done a wonderful action program in the last month, in this month, 16 days, against violence against women. And they only typed in women should or women shouldn't. So then you see women shouldn't drive, women shouldn't vote, women shouldn't be equal to men, etc. Or women should shut up, women should stay in the kitchen, etc. And that's actually, try your own Google site. I did it in Switzerland because all the nerds came up and said, that's not true, that's only for the US, it's true. Or for Saudi Arabia. No, it isn't, guys. No, it isn't. But the interesting thing is that Google Switzerland was quick enough to react, because, you know, I write columns, and it apparently made a big straw among the Google community, of whom I like a lot of friends, but to actually realize how autocomplete can construct sexism. And this is really to be discussed. It doesn't mean that I want to abolish Google. It means, please, look at it how the world looks at us. Ghetto for Women was the big thing, I have to hurry up, about Manda Filipacci, where it is clear that women are always a category. You know, no matter what woman you are, you're always a category. But men are allowed to be individualists. So the Wikipedia is made up by hardly 13 or 14% of women. So you have a gender bias already to begin with. And although the guys really try hard, but they of course take the image how the world looks at us, how the thingish is not thingish anymore, how they use stereotypes to then put it on Wikipedia. I mean, my Wikipedia is being written by somebody who really clearly dislikes me, so they change age, name, and all my fulfillments. And the same thing happened to Amanda Filipacci when she complained about this, that suddenly all women authors became, all authors, novelists who were women suddenly became women authors. It's like women scientists can talk about women's issues. Men can talk about anything, even women's issues. So this category, always think when you create your own studies and findings that you don't fall into the trap of taking women as us or we or category and the men as individuals, because that's what happened in Wikipedia. So Salman Rushdie, for example, is then a novelist of the 20th and 21st century, while any other great known author, female author, is only a woman's author. So now we come back to Winnie the Pooh. When other people are looking at it, the world is looking at us. Don't you see, you people? The world becomes a number. becomes numbers, 0, 1. There is mismeasurements everywhere. There is a commodification everywhere, which leads to bodily perfection. Digital enhancements are more and more being taken for real, and it's politics. It's not history. It hasn't always been that way. It's not just health. It's not neurology, and it's not never changing history. It is politics. There are ideologies behind a lot of studies, and not, that the nasty scientists want to promote their ideology. The sad thing is, they don't even realize, because they don't think, they don't look how the world looks at us. What does body talk, neurosexism, and cliches now do to men and women? For example, here, you have a photo of Simone de Beauvoir. She's one of the greatest philosophers of the 20th, and I would say the 21st century, along with Hannah Arendt. And France, L'Observateur, decided, yes, great, for the first time, we celebrate the 100th anniversary of a philosopher. Yes, people, how would you portray a philosopher, a female philosopher? Yeah, of course, naked and from behind. There we have Angela Merkel, the Chancellor of Germany, and she was wearing a nice décolleté, where most Germans then finally realized, we have a woman as a Chancellor. And of course, then the décolleté already had a lot of body talk about the politics. Turkey, for example, already saw in that big décolleté in 2009 a votum against Turkey becoming an EU member. So, what we see everywhere, Who Makes the News is a great website, go on it. It's done by women on a certain day in media to see how women are categorized. Men see, women are seen. I have a lot of examples, I have to rush unfortunately, but being a woman in the media myself, it's incredible how often I see how I'm commented on what I look rather than what I say. Women are victims and men are experts. Men are normal, women are different. So whenever you stumble upon that, be aware. Women are allowed to talk about women's issues, men are allowed to talk about everything, we've had that. Then what I find very intriguing, we could go on and you think, this is feminist, what's blah, blah, blah. She's talking. No, she isn't. This is philosophy and ideology. Because you see, you want, when you define the human being in a certain image, you want to take away the causes of politics or the political discussion in very important issues. Let's take the financial crisis, for example. It was a question of hormones. In April 2008, the Financial Times had the headline, "Testosterone on Wall Street." Yes, guys, it's not, the CEO, the mismanagement of money. No, it's the hormone theology. The Measured Woman, we have a new bra out that detects stress for women. So rather than changing the work environment and changing the fact that women have to go back to work after 6 weeks, after they've had a baby, we design a bra, we change the bra. Or we have a new study, politicians have a killer gene, or the prettier, the better elected. Hello? The prettier, the more attractive you are, the better elected you get? Hello? Have you never looked at our parliaments? Why not sometimes really look what the world looks like and measure it with the science? So I have to go through this very quickly so I can come to the end what to do about it. You see, the more and more we look at the world, how the world looks at us, we see that we're commodified, that we're put in a fixed framework of biology and of a fixed human image. And don't ever estimate the human image, what images you have, or what does a human being looks like. I don't know. I am many, I always say. Because in politics, it matters a lot. If you have Hobbes, who says homo homini lupus, who believes that everybody is everybody else's wolf and wants just to devour them, our system, people are generally nasty, you have a nasty political system. And but don't let yourself being really irritated by that, because we are many. Have more variety, have more thingish inside you, and have it keep it thingish when other people are looking at it. The great author, Christa Wolf in Germany, had a book, Cassandra. And you know, Cassandra had a sad life. She foresaw a lot of things and she couldn't change them in the Trojan War. And then at the end of her life, she was asked, Cassandra, by Patroclus, the power guy, she was asked, Cassandra, if you could, what would you like to do, to make with your life? What do you actually call life? And Cassandra in Christa Wolf, she answers my favorite sentence. She says, what I call life that I'm able to change the image of myself that I have over and over again. And then the power guy, you know, the neurosexists, the capitalists, the commodificators, the Google hits, the Wikipedia categories, they answered Cassandra, oh God, Cassandra, people never change. Why would they change their image of themselves? Let me tell you, if you change your image of yourself beyond the categories, if you have more thingish inside you, and you keep it thingish when other people look at it, and if other people look at it and they still claim it's not thingish, try to find a way to keep it thingish and to keep the transformation. And this is very, very important. And never forget that science is all about politics and not about numbers. And that's why Winnie the Pooh is right and Google is wrong. Thank you very much for your attention.